Hello everyone, I'm here to answer a question I got from Instagram a few months ago, and it was, how do I learn to be happy with what I have? Now you can see maybe I'm not 100% healthy today, but I'm still recording this video. I hope it's okay to watch and my voice doesn't sound too weird. I thought a lot about this question, and I'm here to give you the answer I have today. That might not be a complete answer. Maybe it can help you to be happier with what you own and maybe not feel so much of the urge to always buy new stuff or even to always declutter more stuff. So the first thing I do want to say, and I think is really important, is that of course it is a process. So I have phases where I'm super happy with what I own, and then I still have phases where I feel like I should buy something new, I should declutter more, or that kind of changing my stuff in general would make me more happy, or that my stuff is the problem that's keeping me from being happy. And I think, of course, that might be even true. So there's always two things that we can do. When we're unhappy, especially when we're thinking that it has something to do with our stuff, we can either change our stuff, like buy more things, buy different things, or declutter certain things, or we can change our perspective. And I think it's really important to see that both can be true. Like, yes, it can be that your stuff is not making you happy because it's actually stuff that's keeping you from doing the things you want to do with it. It can be that you're actually missing things that are crucial to live an easy life or something that's really important to you. And it can also be the case that you just have too much stuff and therefore still your stuff is keeping you from being happy. But I think what we're talking about here is people like me. I thought a lot about my stuff, or I'm in the process maybe of decluttering, or I'm just a person who doesn't really have like a clutter problem. So generally there's nothing wrong with my stuff. And still I'm like just not happy with it. I always tend to want to buy new things or declutter them, or think that if I just bought this item, I would be happier. And therefore we wish to just be satisfied with what we have. And I think if we are in this position of like thinking that buying this one item would make us happy and that we're not satisfied with what we own, I think a good question to ask ourselves is like, why do I think that buying this new item would make me happy if the stuff that I currently own does not make me happy? Like, didn't I maybe buy some of these things thinking that they would make me happy? And if they can't, then is it even about stuff? Because I think a lot of our unhappiness that we think is about stuff, problems that we think we could solve by buying something new, are not actually problems that have to do with stuff at all. But then, of course, if it's not about stuff, then it could be anything. And then it gets a bit more complicated. And there I really don't have an easy answer, because then it's all about your mental health and all about your life in general. And I don't know where the problem is. But I think it can still help to just realize that buying more stuff or decluttering more stuff won't solve that. But I totally get this itching feeling of like needing to change something about our belongings and being like 100% sure that that would make us feel good right now, or even make us happier in the long run. Because I still also experience that, and sometimes even give into it and then change something about my stuff, knowing that actually I kind of have everything I need. But there's something I learned over the past few years of being a minimalist and thinking a lot about this topic of like, how much value does my stuff have in my life? How important is it? What is the role of my stuff? Like, can it make me happy? And realizing that yes, it is important to own certain things, that it can make your life so much easier, but then also knowing that ultimately it's not going to make me happy. And that is that we can change our relationship with stuff, and that does impact the way we feel about our belongings and about our life in general. So there is a tip I can give you to learn to be more happy with what you own, and that is appreciating the stuff you own. With that, I mean that it's good to actually know what we own, and it's good to see what the things are doing in our life. Like, I'm not talking about things like they have feelings. I'm just saying, like, my computer helps me to work. Like, without a computer, I couldn't do the work. And as long as it's running smoothly, that's amazing. I maybe don't realize it, but it's such a great thing to have a computer that runs smoothly. Because in my life I had phases of like slow computers that are really annoying, and right now, for example, I can only use my computer when it's plugged in, which is annoying. So I have a laptop that doesn't really work as a laptop. By that I just mean that we can actually value what our belongings are doing for us, like having something to wear every single day, especially if you've thought about your clothes and now have clothes that you actually like. And realizing these things really helped me to be happy with what I own, and be especially happy with all the like secondhand things, the things I got for free, the random things that maybe I didn't even realize I own or realize what they're doing in my life, but they're so useful. Like, they're doing an amazing job day to day, week to week, year to year, and I don't have to spend money, and I can just use them, and I don't have to think about them, and they're not causing any problems. And that is what stuff is supposed to do, not make us happy. And then I have another tip that's maybe not always so easy to do, but still very helpful, at least in my life. It sounds super easy, and it's just focus on other things. Like, don't focus on your stuff, but focus on your relationships, on your body, on going outside, on experiencing things, on, I don't know, the books you read and stuff like that, instead of focusing on what you own, what you want to buy, what you want to declutter, how you need to change your stuff in order for it to make you happy. That's also kind of reflected in my channel banner that I made, I don't know, it must have been a year or so now, that says like, own less, live more. Because that has just been really helpful to me, like focusing on the things that I could do. When we're spending money, spending it on experiences and not on things. Even maybe that's possible if you catch yourself like online shopping, but you know that that's not really gonna be a solution. You could just text a friend instead, something like that. I know that's not always working, it's not always practical, it doesn't always help. But I think in general, at least I experience it, the more I do, the more I focus my thoughts on experiences and living, the less I'm thinking about what I own or what I should buy. And then I already said something about money. And I think that is a really crucial one to learn, to be happy with what you own. And it saves so much money if you just don't buy new stuff. And that's obvious, but you can think about it a bit differently, which maybe helps even more. Having something, I shared this tip before, but I think it's really crucial. You always think, or at least I used to believe as well, that either I don't have it, like I don't have anything, or I have the item that I want to buy. But that's not true, because if I buy the item, yes, then I have the item. But if I do not buy it, I have the money, I have the space, I have more time, because I don't need to buy it, to care for it, to declutter it in the end. I need to clean less. I just have more possibility, more freedom. Now, sometimes an item is worth buying it. It's worth investing the money and the time and the space and everything, the responsibility to own it, because that item actually makes our life better. But a lot of times, it's just this thought of like, but if I don't buy it, I don't have it, and I'm missing out, then I don't have anything. But you have all these other things that you're maybe just not thinking about. But these are very good resources that you can use maybe in a better way than buying this item. And hand in hand with that goes just a really important thing that I want to share with you. And that is that I think we see it as a success if we buy more and acquire the things we wanted. And we also see it as a success if we manage to declutter, to get rid of so much things. This is very visual. And we can see that something is changing, that something is moving into that direction, and we maybe hope that that is the direction we want to go to. But I think we should establish to also see the success if stuff is not changing. Now, of course, we're always changing, stuff is always changing, our lives are changing, circumstances are changing, but when we talk about our belongings, I think we're just used to having this constant fluctuation, and a part of that is normal, yes. But it should be a success. We should see it as a success to not buy anything for a day, not buy anything for a month, only buy 10 items a year. Things like that are a success as well, and they're not as visible. But they can make us more happy in the long run, because they make us break the habit of always thinking we need to change our belongings to make us more happy, because usually that's a trap. Usually it's not about the things. And that is kind of also what I'm trying to do with this channel, to show you a life where I'm trying to not have that much fluctuation, where I'm trying to focus on other things than stuff, where I'm trying to see it as a success to just use what I have. Not constantly buy new things, not constantly declutter things, not constantly wanting to solve the problem of being happy with what I own in like 1 second with like this crazy method. No, sometimes I think it's better to just sit with it and learn that not changing our belongings might do exactly that. Help us to be happy with what we already own, because it helps us to take the focus away from what we constantly need to change. And because I failed to talk about it, yes, that dresser is new. We picked it up for free in our neighborhood, and it's missing a plank of wood down there, which doesn't look that great. And yes, the lamp is new as well. That was secondhand and cost €7. There's some new things in our apartment. It has mainly to do with my new job, and I have a little bit of money, more money now. And there are some things on our lists that we really wanted to buy for a long time, and now we have the resources to. That said, I'm not sure all of the things we're buying are gonna make us happy. So I'm also still on the journey to learning, to distinguish between like, oh, I just want something new because I think that the change of anything will make me happy, and learning very practically what the things are that actually will make our lives better. And lastly, I think some of it comes down to us just being us. Wherever we go, if we go on a trip around the world, if we buy a new house, if we live the dream life, at least it looks like that on the outside maybe, if we buy the new thing that we really wanted to have, we are gonna take our baggage with us. And yes, we can change who we are, we can work on our mental health and everything, but I think a lot of times we just think changing our life on the outside, changing our belongings, will magically turn us into a different person. And yes, changing our items can have an influence on how we feel, on how we manage, on our inner baggage maybe. We're still us. We're still gonna be us with the more stuff, with less money, no matter where we are. And so I think just knowing that might help accept us a bit more, might help us focus on us and the things we want to work on, we need to work on, and might help us to learn when something could actually make our life better and when it's just an empty promise that we're making ourselves maybe, or that advertisement is trying to promise us to make us buy something. So this is the end of the video. It's almost the end of the tea. Thank you so much for watching. I really want to know what you're doing, how you're feeling with your belongings, if you have a good method to be happy with what you own, if you usually change a lot of stuff, or how you don't change, if you have rules for yourself. And then I also want to link a video here that you can check out. And I hope to see you there. And I also want to say thank you so much to everyone who's supporting me on Patreon, because that helps me out a lot. And also to everyone who's still watching, because that's also very valuable for this channel and for me. So, see you there or in my next video. Goodbye.